Hey, everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
We're back with a two-person show this week. David is out on assignment, individually counting this week's box office receipts.
Yes, we sent him on a mission to make sure that the accuracy was there. So we appreciate him for his dedication.
He'll report back live next week with his actual raw number of tickets.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, it's getting that bad. But don't worry, we do still intend to finish out book club month with our reviews of 3:10 to You and Matilda. So just stay tuned for that. Coming out soon on our YouTube channel and where you get podcasts. They'll be there too. But we thought we'd still get on this week and talk about some of, just what's been going on, what we've been watching. There's been some movies out, some movie news, some big TV finales and premieres. So, let's talk about that. I think the first place we have to start, because we've been talking about the Pitt for so long.
Yes.
We got to the Pitt finale, and, obviously, there may be a spoiler or two. I can't guarantee it. What might slip out of our mouths. So if you are worried about that and the Pitt finale, skip a few minutes. So we watched we've been talking about this show, and we've been watching it separately, and we decided to watch the finale together over at your place, which optimal conditions for a stressful show, I think. How did you
It's nice to be able to yell at the show.
Yeah.
With a group of people and be able to feel those emotions together. Yes.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the show was reeling toward this moment of a major mass shooting in the hospital. So I say all that to comment on how well I felt like the season wrapped up so many plot lines. How did you feel about that? Like, obviously there's some continuing things, but
well, sure, that's what you do in a season when that gets renewed for a second season. I mean, this show, I think, really captured a lot of people's attention, and that it's good because I think that they did it really well from start to finish. I think they started a little slow, and then everything kind of unraveled, and then they really tied everything back up and handed it off to the second shift. I feel like I've never worked in an emergency room, but I feel like they captured
and I never
the
will.
essence. No, again, people should be happy with these people. They're out there saving lives, and they're not. And so I hope that this is a good representation, an accurate representation. I feel like it's got the people involved in ER, and so it felt real, and the way that the storytelling was told hour by hour, the way that they released it, I think it reminded people of the height of TV watching. Again, find a reason to be together and watch a show from a beginning to end with a group of people. This is that show to do that. And so, I got nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I personally, everybody's TV is, everybody's opinion's different, but I feel like right now there's some spots where there's some weekly appointment viewing coming back, at least for me, for shows I like. That's one of them. I don't know if you said you've gotten to it yet, but I really felt like Paradise on Hulu with Sterling K. Brown could be one of those shows. It was very good, and it dropped weekly. So I'm hopeful that this can get some of that back, because so much of the greatness of watching television is experiencing it together. It used to be the object of water cooler talk. You could talk about what was on TV that night, an episode of Friends, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So much of it used to be that, and I don't know if it's the access or it's probably the access to screens now. You can watch a show anywhere. It's become more of a solo activity than I think it used to be. Be nice.
But as far as the storytelling, back to that, as what you said, it's fun to develop all of these characters. Like, you jump in, and over the course of all of these episodes, you are so interested in them both as doctors, and then you get to learn a little bit about them as people and how it ties in with everything. And so the way that, again, they just wrote the show and they let things in. Like, one of the critiques that I had heard from some people is that they like to go home with some of the people and see some of that drama. But all of the drama you need is in the ER for
Yeah.
the most part. And that is contained, and it was just really well done.
Eh,
To the creators, Noah Wiley was fantastic. I didn't watch a lot of ER, but I didn't connect him to ER. This felt like its own thing.
Yeah, I feel like we're able to learn a lot about these characters and like who they are as people through what they're doing at work without even needing to go home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're still pretty rich, and the performances are great, like across the board. It's got a yeah, Noah Wiley leading the cast is incredible, and then there's just basically everyone after him is amazing too. Great show, great show.
Yeah.
What else has been going on this week? Have you watched anything, TV or movie wise?
Yeah. So we're recording this on Easter Sunday for those who celebrate that. And this was just by happenstance, but I stumbled on a movie called The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins, Helen Mirren, and a very young Pierce Brosnan. And it takes place on Good Friday, leading up into Easter. And I had never seen this movie before. I was unaware of its existence. I was just looking for something, and shout out to Letterboxd for helping me find this. Filter by the genre. If you're whatever you're feeling, it can help you find a good movie to watch. And I think it was streaming on Max. It's a British movie, and he's like a real estate agent who is working to build a stadium in London for the '88 Olympics. This movie was made in 1980. And it's kind of convoluted and involves some history that I don't have because I'm not British. But he's involved in some kind of gang activity as well.
Right.
And so as he's building this thing, his crew starts to be murdered, things start to explode, things start to go crazy, and he's like, what is going on? It unravels as we go on, and the story itself, not my favorite, but Bob
Okay.
Hoskins is so good. Like, his acting alone just makes me enjoy the movie. Like, that's about as close as I can get to accurately describing what's going on. Watching the movie, I was just enraptured the whole time because Bob Hoskins is amazing, and I don't think he gets enough credit. And so anytime I get a chance to shout out Bob Hoskins, I will. But he's definitely the reason that you go and watch this movie because he was really good. And that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up on Letterboxd
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, what's the letterbox description say?
uh,
It probably articulates that a lot better than I did.
well, before I even read it, I feel like just how they show it to me is perfect. The cover image is Bob Hoskins in bed with his big hairy chest coming through his robe and a cigarette in his mouth.
Oh, yes.
So
There's a lot of Bob Hoskins chest going on in this movie.
we've
That is
got
a fact.
in the late 1970s, Cockney crime boss Harold Shand, a gangster trying to become a legitimate property mogul, has big plans to get the American mafia to bankroll his transformation of a derelict London into a possible venue for a future Olympic Games. However,
Yep.
a series of bombings targets his empire on the very weekend the Americans are in town. Dang.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
a wild description.
It is accurate, though. It did a lot better than me. And again, it was fun. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I'm just saying it didn't necessarily make the most sense to me.
But you are not alone in the love of Bob Hoskins. Top review says they should bring back Bob Hoskins.
They should.
And
I mean,
then-
I wish.
We've also got, holy shit, Bob Hoskins stares at people like he's going to eat them alive.
He is so. Listen, it's not just, it's everything he does. I mean, he speaks in such a captivating way. He moves in such a captivating way. He is, I don't think, I know this, and I always forget it because he's such a big presence. Bob Hoskins is the OG short king. I mean, he is out there my height or shorter, and out there just, he commands everything. He is a huge presence.
Powerful, powerful imagery.
Roger Rabbit would be proud.
He certainly would, or Jessica would. One of the two.
Jessica would be jealous.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's The Long Goodbye. I think where'd you say that was streaming at right now?
The Long
Or-
Good Friday.
Damn it, you're right. I searched The Long Goodbye on Letterboxd the first time too.
I have called it that twice or
Yeah.
several times
I
because
was
that's the
like,
one I'm familiar with.
this movie has Elliot Gould, not Bob Hoskins. Different movie.
What about you?
Awesome.
What else?
So I watched. There's a new documentary out on Netflix to coincide with the 30th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing that happened on April 19th. The documentary is called Oklahoma City Bombing American Terror, and it is kind of just a full kind of recap of the day and the immediate events surrounding the arrest and then what happens to the, the perpetrators. This is very good. I enjoyed it as a educational film. Have we're close to this being Oklahomans. I have some early memories of seeing it on TV. It's an interesting thing to have experienced before 9/11. There's not as many documentaries about it.
Yeah.
You don't see it told a lot. I kind of fear it gets a little more forgotten each year. But it's a story about homegrown domestic terrorism fueled by extremist rhetoric, and it's worth watching today.
Do you know why I think it gets ignored?
I would love to hear why.
Because of the fact that it is homegrown domestic terrorism. We do not like to remember the things that are bad here in this country. So by not acknowledging it and remembering it, it fades like many other things. So we remember is something that we also say here in Oklahoma, and we have said for a while. So it is nice to see that it's getting some acknowledgement. For me, I don't have a lot of memories of it as a kid, per se. My connection with it is that April 19th is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy
And
birthday.
And she is such a wonderful person. She always puts out a lovely little, like, we remember post acknowledging those. And it makes it really difficult for me in my brain
Well,
to sell. Because everybody else is sad. And I get it. But happy birthday, Mom.
they're separate events. They're separate. I get it, though.
They are. But yeah, I'm glad that it was good. There was another one that I think came out on Max earlier this year, and it didn't. I didn't finish it, so I'm not gonna say how deep it got. But I feel like it was not necessarily focused on the bombing itself, but the leading up to it and how it kind of happened. So
Yeah, so this one was a little under an hour and a half. So I mean, it's far from a deep dive, but it's gonna give you a really good overview, I feel like, and it does cover it uses a lot of local news footage, so you are mostly getting that day forward. What is interesting, something I didn't know and I learned from the documentary, is that they had some archival footage from people who were shooting video in the building that morning, which is just kind of rare for 1995 in general. And it was just wild. They interviewed survivors. There was a woman who was an accountant at a credit union in the building, and she was buried alive in the building for about 5 hours before she got out. And she is now the CEO of that same credit union, which is just wild. So a lot of very interesting stories of resilience in there, and it needs. I don't know. I wish people could kind of revisit that in a really reflective way. I think it would be meaningful.
Recommend the museum as well. It's been years since I've gone. You've been there more recently than me, but it is a really well regarded and well done museum from what I remember, to really kind of give you an idea of what happened. Again, I feel like it's odd to say go visit a museum about a tragedy, but it is something to remember.
Well,
and to
it's
learn about and understand, like fully understand it.
Yeah.
Don't just acknowledge that it happened. Go learn about it.
Mm-hmm. The memorial itself in the
cyclical.
museum is it's a very moving place, and there's a lot to learn. It is still the worst instance of domestic terrorism in American history, or the deadliest. So it is something that could happen again very easily if we don't really learn from the past. And that is Oklahoma City Bombing, American Terror on Netflix. check that out. And now we've got some trailers, or well, we've got one trailer, but a trailer for a movie coming out.
We got
You know
two.
what? You're
Let's
right.
talk
You're
about
right.
let's
We'll
talk about
talk
them
about the
both
both.
because we haven't talked about it, and
You're right.
yeah.
And actually, you know what? It's probably better that we talk about Marvel trailers without Dave. Right, David?
100%.
I want him to hear me say this in his ear. We're gonna do it without you defending it to its core.
And then we would love a response from you, though.
I'm just kidding. You know this, Dave.
I'm not. I want a response.
No, well, the response, no, that's not a joke. You should respond. But we did get a final trailer for Thunderbolts, and we got the first like full trailer for Fantastic Four: First Steps. The Fantastic Four has been kind of people have been looking forward to that for a long time because some argue that there's never been a good Fantastic Four movie. I think some people like that first one. I don't really know. No, I'm pretty sure nobody likes the second or the second attempt at a reboot. But this one's got a great cast. We've got Pedro Pascal. We've got what's his name from Stranger Things, Joseph Quinn, something like that.
Yes.
Fun cast. We just watched the trailer like literally right before we started. What's your reaction? We have been a little more toward what they've been doing these days.
Right.
So,
and I think that and to fully understand, I watched this and the Thunderbolts trailer back to back for the first time. And so the Fantastic Four trailer, I'm interested in the vibe. It looks a little weird, so I dig that to start with. Cast is going to be great. Everyone in there is really cool and captivating, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the screen. Not going to lie, watching it didn't necessarily get my attention because it felt like Avengers.
mm-hmm.
And especially, I don't know, the way they cut things together, I saw big superheroes, big fight, togetherness, like, combo, tag team, whatever. And I was like, and so it didn't hit me in that way. I don't know much about the Fantastic Four. I don't know what they're going to do to be able to hook me on that. And I think that watching these two again back to back, stepping away from it, I think I have to realize that, we grew up, initially, it was just separate movies, right? And then they connected everything. And I think I still expect everything to connect. And they're like, Marvel's got this big... They don't have that anymore. They think they do. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. And so I think that you just have to watch these individually. So I would love to hear more from people who are Fantastic Four fanatics, but I hope that they like it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder the same thing about people who really like the Fantastic Four because I don't have a lot of history with them. I didn't like the first two movies, like I said. And I just I don't know, I just have never known a lot about those characters. So I do agree with you that it is very much just like, okay, a team-up movie where you've been told your world is in jeopardy of destruction and you have to save it from said destruction. Woo! Yeah. In that regard, totally agree that I hope it is more than that. Hopefully that is just the trailer kind of selling us a generic thing. But I have some hope in the... Oh no! What was that?
There's a big reaction because my problem also is that this trailer was damn near 3 minutes,
You're
and
right.
You just called it the most generic thing.
It was.
So again, that was kind of I was like, I'm sitting here for 3 minutes, and I am not moved.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw most of the movie just there. I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure there's
right.
Marvel always likes to throw one thing at you and then pull the rug out from under you. But I mean.
I don't know. My kingdom for some innovation in how trailers are edited. That's all I'll say there.
Yes.
You guys got to do something different. All of you. That's not even a Marvel thing. All of you.
Yeah. Well, and I will go into the back. I'll go to the Thunderbolts trailer next because, like, going into those back to back, man, the epicness of them both, the huge, massive, most incredible stakes that you can imagine in the life of everything, and then, a little broodingness. You've got dark music, you've got Under Pressure, and the generic track under the Fantastic Four trailer is kind of whimsical, but overall dark and sad, and just they even then they felt the same, just felt the same. They were different, but they felt the same.
I get that. I felt some sameness in them too, for sure. I think if I mean, I'm more interested in Thunderbolts. I have to say,
Sure.
personally, and that's just I like the. I think I like those characters more. I think I like that rollout a little bit more. I will offer some optimism with it and say I can't exactly place it, but something about them. I feel like there might be a hint of a sparkle of some freshness in there, and I'm just putting some hope that that is true. I don't know. I still think that it very well could just be that this really needs to slow down to a near halt for a while and let the creative juices percolate and let people miss it a little bit. But
Yeah. Hmm.
I have hope that these are at least enjoyable entries in the
Yes.
MCU.
And again, eventually they're going to connect again. And will it be good? Who knows? But I think until then, you got to, they have so many movies, they have so many characters, and they have so many properties that their job is, again, to make movies of Marvel properties. If you don't like a character, then you shouldn't hate on Marvel as a whole unit at this point in time. You know,
I agree with that.
I feel like that element has come and gone to where they have, for me, so diluted everything that the idea of a Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't exist until there's an actual crossover movie. So if they want to do it,
Yeah,
great. Otherwise, it's just it's like comics but movies.
it does kind of seem like now an attack. Well, not attack is probably not the best word, but when a Marvel movie is like openly panned, it feels like that is a an attack on all Marvel movies. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like maybe we need to not homogenize them into one thing. Maybe some Marvel movies are good and some are bad, and that's fine.
Yep. Well, for
instead of
so
instead
long
of
they
saying
didn't
it's
have any
dead.
bad ones. Yeah.
It's
For
true.
so
That's
long
difficult.
they didn't have any bad ones, and they do now, and that's just the way that it is. And what I think is not good, somebody probably loves, and that's great.
That's always true.
That's what we like. But there's no reason for discourse.
No,
It's
it's almost
just
never reason
they
for
know. Yeah,
discourse.
yeah, that's yeah. So just because I be liking one and you don't be liking one, or vice versa, we can still be friends.
I'm gonna discourse the
Just
hell
remember
out of this on our Discord, which you can join
hey,
at somanysequels.com. Our last bit of news for today, speaking of tired franchises or properties, we've
Mhm.
got another Star Wars movie announced that I don't know if I don't know. I've heard of a lot of Star Wars movie announcements. That's a,
Right.
but this one has a little more information to it in the sense that there's actually people involved. Disney just announced that, or Lucasfilm announced that Sean Levy, the director of the mega successful Deadpool and Wolverine, and Free Guy, and The Atom Project, and like all of the Night at the Museum movies, your mileage may vary, is
Yeah.
directing a new Star Wars movie called Star Wars Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling. And this is targeted for release in May 2027. We don't know much about it other than Gosling is playing a brand new character, and it is set approximately 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Which, you know, I'm not going to be silly and like speculate a ton on no information. I just hope that that means that, moving in the future is not just retelling the same old story from a different angle. They like to do that a lot in the Star Wars universe. And so
They do.
our last bit of information was like, whatever happened at the end of Rise of Skywalker. 5 years in the future, what's going on now? I'm a little into that idea. That's all I say. What do you think? I know you're just as much on this as Marvel.
Yeah.
Kind
This one's tough because they just haven't followed through with anything
yeah,
movie wise
yeah,
in a long time.
true.
So that's just kind of the skepticism on that. They've done a lot that I haven't watched, and honestly, stepping away from it, if this is good and it's a movie, then I'm super interested, but skeptical, obviously. Ryan Gosling is good. Sean Levy is Sean Levy. He is the highest reviewed director on our show, according to David and his statistics. So he has a special connection to us and this show.
We didn't mean that to happen. I have to say.
Truthfully, when we were told this, we didn't even know. And I think that is the problem with Sean Levy, is that he himself, he might be fine, and his movies are fine. But like, is there anything out there that's like amazing? Even Deadpool versus Wolverine. I didn't like that movie. I felt like that movie was good for like, some people
Yeah,
and like fans, like hardcore
for what it was,
fans who
really.
just
Yeah,
wanted this like 10 years ago. But it wasn't for me. So
right.
I'll wait until I see more as per usual with them.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, I don't have a lot of attachment to Sean Levy. I've enjoyed some of those movies on the list. Some of them I've not. I'm interested to see what Ryan Gosling can do. I do enjoy his work, generally speaking.
Right. And I hope that they veer off into something else. But again, my concern is that fandom, as much as they want new things, do
Mm,
they? Do
nah,
they?
not all the
Do
time.
they want new things or do they want their old characters back? But then they don't want their old characters back because they're old. So who knows?
Yeah, people just. I don't. It's an
It's
interesting
spicy.
world out there. Well, you know what? Get the spicy takes out there. Get them out. All right, we got a new
Yeah.
Box Office King, the brand new movie from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, which we're, I think, all very excited for. Sinners
Desperately wanting to see.
has debuted this weekend at number one with $45 million. Very good. Very good opening for that movie. A Minecraft movie, still absolutely ripping it out there.
That's
Unseated
crazy.
at number one, but still pulled in 41 million this week. We've got
Yes.
the King of Kings, which is, I believe, an animated story related to Easter. So Easter weekend debut there at number three and 17 million. Then we've got the Amateur at 7.2 million, and the new A24 war film
Hmm.
Warfare, which I am interested. If you've seen trailers for that, have you?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Pharaoh is in there from Reservation Dogs.
Ooh, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm intrigued by it, so hopefully get out to see that soon. Let us know if you're going out to the movies, what you've been watching, or what you're streaming at home. We'd love to hear it about it.
Yeah.
You can go to so many
And hey, David,
sequels.com.
he went out there and saw Sinners. So if you want to see his review, it is out there on Letterboxd. So
Yep, yep. Go follow us on Letterboxd, search our names there or the show. You can find us and all of our information at so many sequels.com. Episodes, blogs, videos, and how you can contact us on social media. All that stuff's right there. So we'll see you guys soon with another new review.